So I am here at Disneyland Paris, and what I thought I would do is do a full uninterrupted walking tour. We'll have a look at the crowds, the morning crowds. It is about 9:30 in the morning, so normal guests are going to start and flow through. We'll have a look at the normal crowds. We will have a look at wait times. We'll discuss some facts. We'll go point out some things on the way. But I just thought I will literally do a non-stop full walking tour, a full loop around the park, so you can get an idea of where things are. So let's get in first, and we'll start at Main Street Station. So it's 9:30, crowds are coming in, and we're going to start our walking tour at Main Street. First of all, City Hall. So at City Hall, it is basically guest relations. So if you want to give a cast compliment, you want to get a birthday button, you want to book a tour, things like that, you can do that all here. Now the other thing that you can find here as well is Walt Disney's Legion of Honor medal, which is framed and displayed also with the official decree as well. And in there you can also find the original concept art for Disneyland Paris as well, which was then known as Euro Disney. Now, just walking along, what we're going to do is we're going to take the Liberty Arcade, which is on the side, and cut through the Main Street in the middle. We're going to loop around the park, and then we are going to come back out onto that side of Main Street at the end. So here in the Storybook store, there is a little animatronic ticker. Let's see if we can see him. So the little animatronic ticker, you can say hello to him if you go in the store and have a look. I think you just, don't know if you can see him there, just sort of his head's moving just in that booth there. We've got a character meet and greet with Max happening at the moment. Obviously the times and stuff's posted there. So I have mentioned this in vlogs before, but this Liberty Arcade and the Discovery Arcade on the other side, both great places just to sort of beat the crowds and just have a look, because they are really fantastically themed as well. They really are. You can see there's so much in them. About this one's all dedicated to kind of the Statue of Liberty and things like that. And up here on the left, there is actually a little show which is kind of midway up, and it's all about the inauguration for the Statue of Liberty. One thing to point out as well is that all of the shops do have entrances on this side as well, so you can go into all the shops there as well. But yeah, here's the little show that I mentioned earlier. We're not going to go in it today. I have gone in it in some of the vlogs before. But yeah, just a little sort of scene for the inauguration of the Statue of Liberty. Now, one thing to point out as well is you can actually get a haircut in Disneyland Paris. There is the Dapper Dan's haircuts. So you will see there, it is closed at the moment, but there is prices down there for like haircuts and things like that as well. So you can actually get a Dapper Dan's haircut in Disneyland Paris as well. Obviously on Main Street we do have all the stores and things like that, which you normally get. It is pretty much very similar to all of the stores in the other parks, with the Emporium, things like that, the Main Street vehicles which come up. There's the Emporium there. We've got Lily's Boutique, which is right next to Walt's restaurant. So that's a nice little nod to Walt and Lily. Now on Main Street as well, there is a little cut in over there, but there's not much there. A few little tables you can cut into the arcade there as well. Now, one thing to notice up above Main Street is there is names on the windows. So the names on the windows are some of the Imagineers or some people who have had sort of influence in the park. So up on the Main Street Gazette there, don't know if I'll be able to zoom in to show you, but this very end window has Marty Sklar and Tony Baxter, who are two well-known Imagineers. Tony Baxter has a heavy influence in this park, especially with like Big Thunder and things like that. So obviously this is the view everybody wants when they first come in. going up Main Street. We've still got Casey's Hot Dogs on the corner. And over on here we've got the Gibson Girl Ice Cream Parlour, or as Ange likes to call it, the Glamour Girls Ice Cream Parlour. Now the arcade that we went into does come out over there, and you can pretty much get up to the back of the park, just cutting through all the tunnels and things like that. Here's some of the Main Street transportation coming down. So you can ride that, or one of the sort of cars that go up and down Main Street and things like that. Now, some of the other things to listen out for is on Main Street, if you actually listen to some of the windows, we'll see, we'll get it on the way back round, but right above Victoria's restaurant, which is on the right-hand side of Main Street, if you listen carefully above Victoria's, you will hear there's a guy sort of showering in there, and he sort of turns the water on too hot and starts screaming. You can hear him like in the shower and different things like that if you're actually sitting for any amount of time and listen. So there is some things like that. Down at the other end of Main Street, right at the bottom of the other arcade, there's a dentist, and sometimes you can hear people sort of drilling and getting the teeth done and things like that as well. So there is just little funny things like that, small things in the park, just to listen out for. So the first land we're going to hit is Frontierland. Now, Frontierland has a whole story to itself. So you did used to be able to go in and see some of these, but they haven't been open for quite a while. You used to sort of look in some of the buildings, go up the top and things, but you haven't been able to do that for a while. So, while we're on, the fictional backstory of Frontierland goes like this. So, once upon a time, in the American West, there was a beautiful valley which was known as Big Thunder Mountain. According to the legends, the mountain was protected by a great spirit known as the Thunderbird, who would punish anyone who dared disrupt the precious mountain. So all was well until settlers arrived and began drilling into the mountain in search of minerals and gold, which they did soon find. Now, that discovery turned the town then known as Thunder Mesa into a thriving gold rush town, which was owned by Henry Ravenswood, who was the owner of the mine. So he created the Big Thunder Mining Company, and obviously with the discovery became filthy rich. With all these riches, Henry built a beautiful manor overlooking Thunder Mesa on Boot Hill, where he lived with his wife Martha and, more notably, his daughter Melanie. Obviously all of these things which popped up, the steakhouse, Thunder Mesa Daily Messenger, so there's all these buildings which popped up around the mining operation. So the town continued to thrive and obviously develop, businesses opened up. Obviously you can see those in Frontierland, like the Silver Spur Steakhouse, Lucky Nugget Saloon, various shops, things like that. So as Melanie grew up, she attracted the attention of many suitors, and one of these was a train driver called Jake, and there were many useless attempts to stop them being engaged. Yeah, we obviously had Phantom Manor, or the Ravenswood Manor, where Henry Ravenswood, his wife, and his daughter all lived, overlooking Big Thunder Mountain and the mining operation. So this little area does kind of sort of just end here. There is actually a Boot Hill Cemetery. Do you know what? Let's go up and have a look at Boot Hill Cemetery while we're here. So we'll go up and have a look at that while we'll continue on some of the story. So yeah, so we were talking about Melanie and the Ravenswood story. Now, Henry was a very controlling father, And something bigger was going to happen in Melanie's life, and in 1860 a giant earthquake struck Thunder Mesa. Many people believe that was the work of the Thunderbird spirit. Now, it killed both Henry and his wife, obviously Melanie's mother and father. And the earthquake got a huge crack in the western half of the property, revealing the crumbling ghost town of the old Thunder Mesa, which was called Phantom Canyon. And when you go in Phantom Manor on the ride, and you go through the manor and you see the bits with the Phantom and the bride and things like that, when you go down after the attic scene, you actually go down into Phantom Canyon, which was obviously revealed by the earthquake. And that kind of leads to the story of the ride, where you go down and all that. So you can't get out here, but there is just a little, there is just a few little graves. So these miners were told about digging too fast, they lost all their gold in a dynamite blast. There is just a few little things back here. Mary Murphy, till death, and then Frank Ballard, do us part. Ma Ballard, over my dead body. So yeah, there's a few little funny things on there. Cold is my bed, but oh, I love it, for colder are my friends above it. So yeah, there's just a few little sort of nods to things here. Leadfoot Fred, dances too slow, now he's dead. So yeah, this is just, it's actually just a nice little place to just come and have a look at, to be honest. Just to get out of the way. There's never many people back here at all. And there, as we were just talking about, is Martha Ravenswood and Henry Ravenswood. Quarrelled and fought as man and wife, now silent together beyond this life. Beyond this wife? Yeah, beyond this life. So this is Boot Hill Cemetery. So we're just going to head back down the way we came, down past Phantom Manor, Lucky Nugget, and start to go around by Big Thunder Mountain. So, as we continue the story of the Ravenswoods, on Melanie's wedding day, a mysterious phantom unknown to anyone appeared in the house. Now, while Melanie was preparing in a room, the phantom lured Jake up to the attic, where he hanged him by the neck from the rafters. And obviously that is part of the ride that you see when you're going through the sort of pre-show bit in the stretching room, and you look up and you see the phantom. So Melanie waited and waited as days, weeks and years passed, still wearing a dress, overwhelmed by the grief of losing Jake, but still holding on to hope that one day her love would return. And she wandered the manor, singing songs of grief and lost love. So the phantom invited his demonic friends from the afterlife to fill the house in an eternal party, and no one has ever set foot in the house since, and no one knows if Melanie is still alive in the old house. And some days when the moon is full, you can still hear the mourning of the bride and the laughter of the phantom, who it turns out is Melanie's late father, Henry Ravenswood, who vowed that no one would ever marry his daughter. So, that is the story of Thunder Mesa, Big Thunder Mountain, the Ravenswoods, and Phantom Manor. So it actually ties this whole land together very, very well. Very well. So at the moment, that is normally the riverboat landing. Hasn't been open, it is blocked off. Big Thunder obviously is there. The entrance is just around the other side, which we'll see we'll come to soon. But really up that part is only Big Thunder Mountain, and we've got a couple of sort of bits of food places, the Last Chance Cafe, Lucky Nugget Saloon and everything here. Now at the moment the music festival is on, so there is different activations, and this is one of them where Miguel from Coco comes out and does a little sort of 20-minute kind of dance for the music festival. There is some stores and things here as well, Bonanza Outfitters. This looks as if it's a queue for Big Thunder Mountain. So we're just going to cut through that. But that is a very long line.
You want to go on the ride?
Phantom, it looks as if there was no queue for that one. We were just up there before. So that looked pretty quiet. But this is pretty big. Let's see when we'll get along here. There is a couple of sort of carts and things like that around with drinks and snacks. There is the Rustler Roundup shooting gallery over there, which is just a sort of little rifle range kind of thing. And then this is the photo pass booth for Big Thunder. There is things like all the sort of mining steam engines and things like that, so it's got really great theming in this land. So it looks like Big Thunder Mountain has only just opened up. Now it says a 5-minute wait, but both me and you know that is not a 5-minute wait queue. Normally Big Thunder is one of the most popular rides in the park. Regularly has queues over an hour. Now, here is Casa de Coco. So in Casa de Coco, it's burritos and things like that. We'll have a little look at this menu on the wall here. There we go. Got some menus. Now it is, as I'm shooting this video, the 30th of July, 2025. So obviously prices might be different and things like that. It is the summer months. It is quite busy in the parks. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a wander up around here. Obviously this is going to be quite a long video. Probably one of the longer ones I've done. But I think it's good just walking around the park, just to get an idea, because sometimes when you're watching vlogs and things like that, you flit around between places, you're going from ride to ride and jumping about the park a lot. This can help give a little bit of sort of wayfinding as to where things are. So that was just the Premier Access queue for Big Thunder that we've just passed. We're just coming to the back end of the park here. Over here we've got Cowboy Cookout Barbecue. That is one of our favourites when we come to the parks. Chicken, ribs, sausages, things like that. There is normally a couple of characters. Normally Goofy will meet over there. There's already a couple of people waiting in the queue. I have seen Minnie in her cowboy outfit around the back there as well. So here's one of the menus where you get a little bit of everything. With the chicken, the sausage and the ribs, or you can just go with the sausages, the chicken on their own. You get a little bit more cheeseburger, plant-based burger, salads, things like that. If you do want to look at the menu, there is a QR code on the bottom there. Feel free to scan that, or feel free to pause the video. So we're going to continue just walking down. Now this is another dead end when you do get down here. So we're just going to continue down here now. We'll just continue down this way. What there is down here is basically, I'm not going to go all the way into this bit because, like I say, it is a dead end. But again, all part of Frontierland. Is it Frontier? Yeah, Frontierland, isn't it? Yeah. I always get mixed up between Adventureland and Frontierland. But there is basically a kids' playground down the back, which is the Frontier Playground. I don't want to go in, there is a few kids in there and things, but But over here, right at the back of the park and past the Cowboy Cookout Barbecue, is where the Lion King show is. Rhythms of the Pride Lands. So this is the Frontierland Theatre. I believe the train station is also down here as well. Now what I would probably say is you can get obviously premier access and preferred seating and things like that, but as long as you turn up, we've had some decent seats before. So you can see this is the show times there. Best in the West, Lion King, Rhythm of the Pride Lands. Shows and things like that. And just at the back there is the Frontierland Depot, which is the train station where you can get off at Main Street, get on at Main Street, sorry, come around to Frontierland, Fantasyland, Discoveryland. So this is a little bit of another dead end in the park, similar to Phantom Manor. So what we're going to do is we are going to head back past the Cowboy Cookout. We're going to start to head back towards Big Thunder Mountain, but we are going to cut off. So you can see this is the way that we came before. Oh, you can just see one of the Big Thunder trains going over the top there. There we go. I don't think the train goes around that way, so I'm presuming they are bringing it out from the back to put an extra train on to get more people through the ride. You can see at the back there, that's where they keep the extra trains when they aren't running on the track. Looks like they are bringing an extra train out. We can cut up through that way, and there is normally a meet and greet there, but I am going to go slightly further down. I'm going to go back towards Coco's, which you can just see. So just as we're wandering around this bit, because there's not much when we cut through here, let's just talk about a Disneyland fact, Disneyland Paris fact. So Disney originally wanted to locate the park close to the Mediterranean Sea, and that was to try and match the warm climates of the other parks, Florida and California at the time. But eventually Paris won out because it's estimated to be less than a 4-hour drive for 70 million people, and also a 2-hour flight away from another 300 million more. So people power won out, and they decided that they were going to put the parks much closer instead of on the Mediterranean Sea. So there's a little fact. Just when we've come along, we've reached Adventureland. What I'm going to do is turn up this way. Now there is the cool post there. One of the things I did go for yesterday, but it wasn't available, was this coconut rice pudding, but they didn't have any left. I was highly upset. That's the other little path that I pointed out where the character meet and greet was, which cuts back around towards Big Thunder Mountain. This here is Colonel Hathie's Outpost Restaurant. So again, we can see some of the options here in the restaurants. Some Indian options, some pizza, and again, QR code if you do want to look at the menu, or you can see it in the Disneyland Paris app. Well, there is outside seating, inside seating. We've been in there a few times. Have a little Mickey pizza, things like that. This pathway up here leads to Indiana Jones. Now, it's not like the Indiana Jones that is in the California park, which is a replica of dinosaur that is in the Disney Studios park. Sorry, not Disney Studios park, Animal Kingdom. Because I'm in Disney Studios. No, I'm not in Disney Studios. Honestly, it's too early. This is where I edit things out, but I think it's good that I make mistakes. Nobody's ever perfect. So this is a Moana meet and greet for the music festival. I say meet and greet, it's not a meet and greet, it's like a, a little music show, which will be about 20 minutes. We can see we've passed lots of little drink carts, lots of little snack carts on the way. And up here is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril. Now this is a coaster. It's quite an old coaster, it's quite a rickety coaster. It is not the most comfortable to ride. Probably maybe around about a minute long. Currently shown as a 15-minute wait. Now there is a little bit of theme in here, but there's nothing specifically that makes it Indiana Jones. You can hear the coaster going around. There's the entrance and the premier access and things like that. And then there's just a little store down there as well. But again, another little dead end. I was hoping to, oh, there's one train just going past on the bottom there. So that is literally another little dead end. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk back. Like I was saying, it is not like the rides in the other parks. It is literally just a little coaster. One loop, a few little twists and turns around. Now, there is a lot of works going on what's called Pont Suspendu, which is a suspension bridge over there, and also the works going on in the caves and stuff over that way as well. Now, we can cut over that way, towards that way. It's almost like a little shortcut where you can go through the caves and things like that. But what I want to do is just go around the other way of the park, just to show you that bit of the park. Well, we're walking back around here, back past the Moana Music Festival, and then also back past Colonel Hattie's, just backtracking to where we were. Let's have another fact. Disneyland Paris was originally called Euro Disney. The reason they changed the name, I think that was a lot to do with Michael Eisner, the original name. It was in the Eisner era in 1992. But research into visitor numbers, into low visitor numbers should I specify, found that Europeans associated Euro too much with finance and work. Tilt that camera up a little bit. So yeah, Europeans associate the word Euro with work and finance and things like that. But Americans, on the other hand, thought it sounded glamorous. Euro Disney, or Euro Disney, as I think Michael Eisner said in his opening speech. So yeah, hence the name of the park at that point, with low visitors numbers, was changed to Disneyland Paris. Then they dropped the Euro part. So again, we can take a little shortcut. That was the little refreshment stand where I pointed out the coconut rice pudding before. So we're kind of back where we were, backtracking, going around the long way a bit. Like I say, there is little shortcuts throughout various parts of this park. But we're going to just take a walk down here now. Down here we've got restaurant Hakuna Matata. So in the restaurant here, again, quite a lot of options on this one. So if you want to check out that QR code, there it is. But we've got looks like we've got like rice, chicken, pulled beef sandwich, chicken strips, yassa chicken, salads, various different things, kids menus and things. So yeah, quite a few bits there. Again, a few bits of seating. Now, there is a smoking area there. One big thing I always have about this park is there is a lot of smoking outside of the smoking areas, smoking and vaping. Now, cast members don't really police that probably as well as they should. And I know it's like probably an awful part of the job. But yeah, you will walk around in this park. You will see people smoking and vaping. You'll just see the sort of little puff clouds of smoke come up as you're walking around. This bit is just another little kind of area here. We've got a few little stalls. There is a shop. Not only the outside one, but there is an inside bit as well. It's closed at the moment, with it being fairly early by the look of it. But yeah, we've got a few bits on the stalls here. There's one of the entrances to the shop that you can go in. There's a lot of Lion King merchandise in this one, which goes with the sort of theme of this little part of the land. You can see in the window there. You can see it for the shadows there, but yeah, they've got some Lion King stuff in there as well. And one little walk-through attraction that they've got here is Aladdin's Passage, the Enchanted Passage of Aladdin, which literally you go there, there's little scenes from the movie, and then you come out that door there. So it is just like a little walk-around thing. It takes a few minutes to go through. Now this bit here goes back out to the main hub, which is just through there. See Plaza Gardens restaurant and everything through there. There's some toilets, and then there's the Agrabar Cafe restaurant. So this is a buffet. 45 for an adult, 25 for a kid. You can see some of their cold drink included. And again, on the bottom, just a QR code or the Disneyland Paris app if you want to have a look at that. If you're still with us, thanks for watching. We are going to continue along up towards Pirates and Skull Rock. We did do a tips video on the channel last time we were here. It was our first tips video. I want to say we had 13, 14 tips. I think we had 13, but we didn't want to stop there with it being an unlucky number. Not that we're that superstitious, but I think we ended up chucking another one in just to make sure. But yeah, one of the tips on there was Aladdin meet and greet there from this afternoon. Got the lamp and things like that as well. But yeah, one of the tips on that was basically wear a good pair of shoes, because as you can tell, we've been walking quite a way, and you will do a lot of steps in these parks. Here's another music festival activation. There's different times throughout the day, all in the Disneyland Paris app. Normally happens a few times for each one. So now, like I was saying, steps. So you will do a lot of steps. I think the first day we were here, we did 23,000 steps, which worked out to be over 12 mile. And that was just on day one. And every day since, we've probably walked somewhere, depending on what you do, between 16,000 to 20 odd thousand. So you're doing quite a few miles every day in the parks. So you definitely need a comfortable pair of shoes. Do see a lot of people wearing Crocs. I don't own a pair of Crocs, so I don't know how comfy they are. But there we've got the pirate ship, and we've got Skull Rock. And you can actually get up into Skull Rock as well. Now if you were cutting over, you can cut through the path which goes along behind here. You can see people over the other side just walking over the bridge and things over there. So there is, again, another path around to there. There is also some caves and things that you can kind of have a wander around in there. Kind of get lost a little bit. It sometimes does become confusing. It is quite dark. So we are just coming up here, as we can see. See the sign over the ridge there, Pirates of the Caribbean. No wait time posted outside at the moment. So this part is called Adventure Isle. And again, that way will lead kind of back to Indiana Jones through that path and things like that, a little way around. 15 minutes, they have a sign underneath because the digital sign must be off. 15-minute wait for Pirates of the Caribbean. It is about 10 past 10 at the moment. Now when we came up the arcade and I said that you can get all the way up to the top of the park undercover if you know the route, this is where it brings you out. So you can follow this little tunnel all the way back down to where that Aladdin's lamp is, and then you can still continue down there, cut through to that Frontierland part, and then get all the way back down to the arcades. Fantasyland is always going to be one of the busiest lands. Feels busier than the other lands already. I know we've seen that big queue for Thunder Mountain, but that was because it literally just opened. So once that sort of queue sucks up those people that were outside, then that will be a lot quieter than when we passed. We are just coming past Peter Pan here. Peter Pan is always a busy ride. Not a ride I would generally wait for. Probably one of the busier ones. It is 40 minutes at the moment. You can see the outside queue is all full already. Now, which way to go? Let's go this way. So we've just come in that entrance there, which takes you to Adventureland. Here, just as we walk this way, we have Chalet de la Marionnette restaurant. And again, a couple of different offerings in this one. Hot dogs, sandwich, pretzels, chicken, vegan burger, salads, things like that. Again, little QR code there, the Disneyland Paris app, if you want to have a look at that. But yeah, or Chalet de la Marionnette. Quite a lot of room taken up in Fantasyland with all this. It's quite a big land. Don't know if I would say it's bigger than Frontierland or not. We have Dumbo there. We'll have a look at that in a second. Let's come back up by the castle. So we have the carousel, which is always popular. You can see there's quite a queue for that at the moment. Can't see the wait time yet because they haven't gone past the entrance to it. But here is Pinocchio. Again, Pinocchio tends to be a little bit of a wait. So there's a few people in the outside queue there. 25 minutes. 25 minutes for Pinocchio this morning. 10 o'clock in the morning. I feel that's not too bad. And then that is Snow White, which looks like it's about, I think 15 minutes it said there's a walk past. So Adventures of Snow White. And there is a little Snow White shop here. Princess dresses, things like that. Queue to take photos with the sword in the stone, as we can see. Now in this shop, when you walk through, there is actually a little, I'm getting to see it or not? Let's have a wander in the shop. Obviously, a lot of princessy themes things. Yeah, here it is, look. So there's almost like this little Snow White house which is inside the shop. With a couple of our little furry friends and a tortoise and things there. It's just a nice little bit of theming where unless you come in the shop you would never know it was there. So we came in that door. Let's go out this one. Now there is a path that goes off here. Oh, there's that wicked witch, look. So this way will take you back around towards the Aladdin, which is that sort of cream building in the background, brownie building in the background. What we'll do, just come back out. We're just on the side of the Sword and Stone, just for a little bit of wayfinding. Down that pathway towards Aladdin as well, there is a pathway that takes you to the dragon. This is the Merlin shop. I'll just turn in here. There's a pathway at the front of the castle, the back of the castle, or through the shop. But that's where the dragon is, who lives under the castle. And I believe that is the only one in any Disney castle that you can see. And also, doing some glass blowing. So this castle, unlike the other ones, you can go up in the castle. So there you can see there's the hub. We are just literally under the castle itself. But you can go up in the castle, and there is the whole Sleeping Beauty story up there with stained glass, a couple of little things. One of the things up there is they do have a couple of little suits of armour, and if you're standing next to the suits of armour, you will hear that it sounds like the soldiers that are in them are asleep because they're snoring. So that's a fun little thing. On the other side of the castle here, on the entranceway, is a permanent Christmas shop. So there's lots of Christmas decorations, ornaments. It is always Christmas time in there. You can actually get, we have a, can I say from here? Let's actually go to the bottom. So you can actually get on top of the castle outside as well. Not right on top of the spires, you wouldn't want to be there. But if you'll notice, there's a few people. So when you do go up to view the stained glass windows where the stairs are inside the castle, you can actually see there's people on the top of the castle there. So you can get out and get a nice photo overlooking Fantasyland. So there is a shop on that side as well. And then over here you have Auberge de Cylindron, which is a restaurant, and it's character meet and greets. 60 for an adult, 48 for a child. A royal breakfast in the company of Disney characters. So you can book a breakfast to go in there. We're back at the Lancelot Carousel. There is a little face painting thing as well with different things on. You can see there's a few people getting it done at the moment. Got the kids in just getting some face paint on. The shop does go round here as well. There's another little shop there. There's the one at the bottom and then the one here. We've got the carousel, which is just starting to go around there now. Let's have a look at the wait time. So we'll cover the sort of bit of Fantasyland where the castle is. So as we're walking back around here, we were just talking about the stained glass in the castle. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's just see what this wait time is first. 20 minutes. 20 minutes wait time on this one. That's not too bad. So tell you what, let's go around this way with Dumbo, because this was the way we came before. So we came in up there, came down by Pinocchio. We've done a loop around the castle, kind of that way, and we've come back to the middle of Fantasyland here. So, stained glass. The stained glass in the castle was done by a guy Paul Chapman, who was a stained glass expert from England who had previously worked on the restoration of Notre Dame. Now he was in his 80s when he supervised the creation of the stained glass windows for Princess Aurora's castle. So 80 years old, you've done Notre Dame, and then you get asked to do the Disneyland castle. How cool is that for both Notre Dame and that? We can see there's some works ongoing there. We've got Dumbo the flying element here. Flying element? What am I talking about? Dumbo the flying elephant. Couldn't see a wait time for that there. Now, just for a bit of wayfinding, we are back up by Peter Pan, which is over there. Now, down here, we have a meet and greet with Mickey, which is actually a virtual queue. Now, at the time we're here, it is normally 9:45, I believe, and then 2 o'clock to get in the virtual queue for Mickey. And then you have Toad Hall restaurant here as well, which I believe does fish and chips and things like that. If you look at the front there, it's a Toad Hall restaurant. Nice little nod to Mr. Toad, which obviously used to be a ride in the American parks. But yeah, fish and chips, 12 euros. Breaded vegan and chips. I've got some other stuff there as well again. QR code, just if you want to look at the menu on there as well. Feel free to pause and have a look while we continue our little full walking tour. Wow, we're up at about 45 minutes. Quite a bit of time. I did say earlier on it was going to be a long video, and it is a big park to get around. I am going to do the same for the Walt Disney Studios as well, and just do literally a full walking tour. So here we have Alice's Curious Labyrinth. It is just a walk around attraction. It is easy to get lost in there. There's once or twice I've took a wrong turn. But once you actually make it all the way through, when you get to the end, there is 2 ways you can go. So you can either walk straight forward and just come out, or there's the entrance we've just passed, there's the exit there. But that castle bit up there, you can look around from up on the turrets of that castle, and it's a pretty cool view. Again, you can get some really nice views of Fantasyland, which I've took a couple of photos from up there before. So if I can dig those out, I'll maybe just pop a photo in here just so you can see it, just as we're walking around. Teacups, we have the teacups over there. You can see the carousel in the background and everything. So we've got those teacups there as well. We've got the old mill, which is kind of a little bit of a refreshment stand. We were there the other day. We do a little sort of what they call a sweet break, where you can get like a cold drink and a biscuit for €7. A couple of little things there. Some mini crepes and things. The Rapunzel biscuit as well, which is €5. Quite a queue there at the moment. So just to cover this little bit off, there is 2 rides down here. We were just down here the other way. There is the little Casey Jr. train ride, and also Pays de Fez. I don't really speak French, so if I'm mispronouncing anything, apologies. No offence meant to anybody. But yeah, Casey Jr. is just kind of like a little kid's train. And it just goes around. We can just see it in the background there, pulling up. And then the Pays de Fez, I don't know. That one is more just a little kind of boat ride. They go around. There's little sort of bits of different Disney things. There's Beast's Castle we can see up there and things like that. A few other things in there as well. That's only a 5-minute wait. Looks like Casey Jr. is not a very long wait either. So we're going to cut back up to the old mill. And while we cut back up to the old mill and back up towards coming out of Fantasyland, like I say, it feels like a big land, this one, spread out over quite a way. So let's talk about a little bit about the timeline of Disneyland Paris. So the agreement for the creation and the operation of what was then Euro Disneyland project in France was actually signed on the 24th of March 1987 in Paris. That's the way we've just been, where March Hare Refreshments is. We're going to head around this way towards Small World now. So yeah, 24th of March 87 in Paris. 5 years later, April 12th, 1992, marked the historical opening of Disneyland Paris. But the actual TGV station, the train station, wasn't opened until 2 years later in 1994. And then to celebrate the opening of the train station, there was a huge 300-metre paper train which travelled down Main Street. So that would have been cool to see at the time. So this is the Princess Pavilion. Now again, this is a virtual queue now. So it does say fully booked at the moment. That could just be the morning queue. I believe there's another one opens at 2 o'clock. Could be different when you come, depending on the season and the times of the parks and things like that. But Princess Pavilion is always a long one. That was always just literally hundreds of minutes waiting. That was hours waiting when you would go there. They do have these chalets with a few little things in. There is some crepes, there's nuts, there's waffles, there's macarons, cheese pretzels. You can get some tea and things. You've got candied apples. So there's a good few nice little bits that you can get here if you just want that sweet treat. There's the song that everybody knows. It is a small world after all. So this obviously is just a nice little boat ride. Sometimes to get out of the heat, get inside, cool off. Obviously you will be humming the song all day once you start. So I would say do it early in the day, otherwise you'll be humming it when you go to sleep. So this is kind of where Fantasyland ends. Now, just on that side, looks like it's roped off for a parade or something at the moment, but if those gates are open, that will cut you through to the bottom of Tomorrowland, where currently the Lightspeed Lounges and Star Tours is down the bottom. So it's a nice little shortcut without going all the way back to the hub and then all the way to Tomorrowland. So over here we have Pizza Bellinotte, which is just like pizzas and pastas and rigatoni, various different things. Can't really show the menu because there's somebody sitting there with the kids eating stuff at the moment, so I don't want to interrupt them. But QR code if you want to look at the menu, or as I mentioned a few times, you can get them in the Disneyland Paris app. Now Fantasyland, on the nights when the fireworks happen, does get blocked off. They will sort of start to guide people. I'm going to say guide, not kick out. They will start to guide people out of the land, clear out the rides a couple of hours before the fireworks start. I'm going to presume that's because of the drones, which are used in the fireworks show above the castle. So obviously they don't want any drones falling down, hitting anybody in case anything goes wrong. There was an incident, which I believe was in Orlando. It wasn't in the Disney park. Don't know how, I can't remember when it was. It was a good few months ago now, but there was some drones that fell out the sky. One of them actually sort of took off and hit somebody and things, and I don't think the guy was in good condition for quite a while. So obviously they don't want anything else to happen like that. All this stage and everything is being done at the moment. So yeah, we are at the side of the castle, as you can see there. And we've got one more land to go, which is Discoveryland. This used to be quite a nice little place to sort of just sit. There's quite a few people sitting there. Sometimes there was some little shows there and things as well. Just on this side here is used for a couple of things. Sometimes we've been in there once, which was for a specific meet and greet for annual pass holders, which I think was our, I want to say our January 24 trip. I think it definitely wasn't January just gone, so it must have been that one because Nathan wasn't with us at the time. So that must have been the first annual pass we have. So there's the hub. Tell you what, let's just cut out into the hub a second because we've never really been in the hub yet. So no partner statue in this hub. The partner statue here is in Walt Disney Studios, just behind World Premiere. Whereas in the American parks, it is smack bang in the middle of the hub. But normally, the hub here is used for shows and things like that as well. So there she is, Paige and Mr. Morrow says, isn't she a Butte Clark? I mean, he's got that from the movie, but yeah, obviously this is where everybody will stop and take their photos for the castle. One tip I'm going to give you, so we've covered all of this section of the park all around here. You can see Adventureland, which is where we had a look at Aladdin and things. Kind of coming out the way a little bit here, but I thought it's worth just a visit at home. There's the entrance to the dragon down there. Obviously we went through the one in the castle. But the reason I'm coming over here is there is a nice little nook down the bottom, right down the bottom, down there, where you can get some really good photos just looking up at the castle. So if it's quiet or there's a couple of people there, there's quite a few times we've been down there, somebody's took a photo of us, we've took a photo of them, just so we can get all the family in, things like that, rather than a selfie. So that is a nice little spot just to be there. But we are going to head into Discoveryland. So when we get into here, obviously the big attraction in here is Space Mountain. Now Space Mountain was opened as Space Mountain from the Earth to the Moon in 1995. It is all Jules Verne inspired in Discoveryland. They didn't want to do Tomorrowland over here because Tomorrowland is constantly outdated. When you do something that's supposed to be tomorrow, it becomes outdated very fast. So this is more Discoveryland. But yeah, the original version, you can still see the theming where it's meant to be a cannon that kind of shoots you out. But yeah, 1995 was the original one. So that was the flagship attraction for Space Mountain. It was a journey that immersed in darkness that takes you from the Earth to the Moon, shot you up. And Elton John actually came for a special performance to about 40,000 visitors on that night. And then it wasn't until 2005 that it was then rethemed to Space Mountain Mission 2. So we have Constellations there, which is a shop which you can pop into for any merch. And then normally here is Buzz, which opened in 2006, but that is currently under renovation at the moment. So it looks like we are not going to be riding Buzz this trip. It has been and will be off for a little while. Little drink stand and things there. I might have to get one of those when I'm finished this walking tour, because we've been nearly an hour. I'm quite parched, it's quite warm. So we've got Orbitron here. "45-minute wait for Orbitron at the moment. Tomorrowland is one of the main places that is open in the morning. So when you come in here, it does tend to be busy first thing. This and Big Thunder. So then we have Autopia, or as Nathan likes to call them, the petrol cars. I've got a feeling these are electric now in the American parks. In Walt Disney World at least, I'm sure it's electric. Single rider 40 minutes for Space Mountain. Queue is currently 55 minutes. Now they obviously had the Star Wars theme overlaid quite a while ago, and that just hasn't gone away. So we can see there's still elements of the first Space Mountain here with the sort of cannon. We've got the Nautilus there as well, which is another attraction that is just up here. So it is kind of themed to Star Wars on the inside of Space Mountain. When you're walking through the queue, there's posters for TIE fighters and the cannons and like different things the ships have on them. But then you get into the room just before you go down the stairs into the main loading area, and that is actually still themed to the original Space Mountain as well. So this is the Mysteries of the Nautilus, which is kind of up, tucked away behind Space Mountain. It is just a little walk-through attraction. We went through it the other day when we were doing one of the vlogs, if you've been watching those. So there's just a few things where you can see like Captain Nemo's bed, the main sort of area where the eye opens, you can see outside and things. Here we can see is the Autopia cars going around that queue which winds all around the main building. And here is the entrance if you want to go down to the Nautilus. Currently a 0-minute wait on there. It's never a really long wait there. There is a lift down as well if you do need to take need any access like a pushchair or something down or something like that. And that is the exit where you come out of. So we are just on the back of Space Mountain. We can see the queue comes all outside there. And there is a single rider queue, which is all the way at the back as well. So you can get single rider if you want to do that. That was a little bit less at 40 minutes wait over the 55 for the normal standby. But normally you will get split up. They will just put you in any old seat. If there is a family of 3 or something like that, they are two-seaters. And then when you come out to Space Mountain around here, there is the photo pass area as well. Now, one thing I didn't mention before, when we were talking about the Dapper Dan's barbershop on Main Street, which I forgot to mention, so apologies, but I find that a nice little piece of history because it's decorated with authentic pieces from an actual Chicago barber who was apparently closing up shop as Disneyland Paris was being built. So there is some authentic Chicago pieces in there. And it's pretty cool as well because Walt's dad Elias was actually a barber as well. So you've got Walt's restaurant right next to Lily's boutique, who was Walt's wife. And then there's the Dapper Dan's, which is kind of a nod to his dad. So that corner of Main Street is almost like a whole little family thing. So down the bottom here, we get to Mickey's Philharmagique, which I always like to just have a nice little ride on that. It's fairly cool. But in the Orlando park, this is up in Fantasyland. Now this theatre was originally housing Captain EO, I believe. I'm not sure if there's anything before that. But I remember coming to see here on one of our earlier visits, and it was Captain EO, which was there. That was obviously Michael Jackson. It was like a musical production done in conjunction with George Lucas as well. This is pretty cool, look. We'll just stand and watch that. Oh look, Din Djarin, the Mandalorian's out, meet and greeting. Some people over there. Don't know if that queue's closed, but it's fairly quiet. Now this is a virtual queue for normally Vader that's in there. There was a little cafe where we had the Vader waffles the other morning, which was it was quite nice. It was bigger than I thought actually when I had it. Let's just see. Now this is a virtual queue as well. The starport here. Yeah, it is a Vader meet and greet. So they have a QR code where you can scan, but it is in the Disneyland Paris app if you find it on there. You can just click on the virtual queue and you can just get in the virtual queue for the meet and greet. Now up above is Lounge Lightspeed, which I'll discuss that in a second. So at the back here we have Star Traders Boutique, which is a store. You come out of the Star Wars ride there and into the Star Wars shop, so it's not something you can miss if you go on the ride. Like most Disney rides, you're going to come out in a merchandise shop. It is currently a 15-minute wait for Star Tours. So 15 minutes, it's not bad. Now you'll see just up the back here, is Lounge Lightspeed. That is the entrance. You basically go up the steps, all along this balcony right across the top to Lounge Lightspeed, which is up there. The reason I'm not a fan of that is you have to pay, I believe it's 22 euros for basically a drink and a little biscuit. Or I want to say 15 for a non-alcoholic, and again, a couple of little biscuits. But the only reason to go up there is because that's where you can meet the BDX droids. So basically what they're doing is putting the BDX droids behind the paywall and making you pay for a meet and greet. Whereas in the American parks, they are wandering around in Galaxy's Edge. So, not a fan of that. And as much as I would want to see them, I wouldn't want to pay to meet them. So we are coming into Videopolis. Definitely starting to need a drink. So Videopolis is a really nice, cool place just to come. It's massive in here, and there is a little stage and everything here. There's normally like a mini meet and greet and things in there as well, when we've been here before. You can get in down the bottom as well. It goes all the way up to where you can order food either at the main kiosks and things, but looks like Disney Performing Arts is on now. But there's a lot of seating there. There is normally a part of the music festival there as well, with a live band singing some of the songs. It was on the other day when we were in here. We haven't seen it fully yet though. But again, we've got a couple of mobile terminals there for ordering food, as well as the kiosks there as well. So we come back out up the top. So just for a bit of wayfinding, we went in down that way. We basically just skipped walking up the side of Space Mountain. All that's down there is a premier access for Space Mountain. And then we have come back up to Orbitron and Buzz Lightyear. So you can see, not that big a land, but it is very beautiful at night when it is all lit up with all the neon above Autopia and things like that. The lighting package for that is, I always think, absolutely amazing. So we're just going to come back out. Now, one thing I haven't sort of pointed out is there is a lot of hidden Mickeys that you can look out for in the park. If you've been to the parks before and spotted them, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it is just 3 circles in the shape of Mickey's head and the 2 ears. There's a good example, which I forgot to spot, well, not spot, but point out actually, which is on Small World. 3 of the little gears actually make up a hidden Mickey with his head and the 2 ears. Instead of going back out to the main hub, we are going to sort of cut around the back here, around by Plaza Gardens restaurant. And if you are still here, thank you, I appreciate it. This is probably one of the longest videos I've done. But yeah, hidden Mickeys are all over. You can just literally spot them everywhere. So here is Plaza Gardens restaurant, which we can see here. Now it is a character restaurant. We were just walking past the other night and we just seen Tigger in here. So it is a buffet. Just go up here, we can see here. 45 for an adult, 25 for kids. And again, Disneyland Paris app, or the QR code there if you want to scan that for the menu. So we are nearly finished the walking tour. We are heading back towards Main Street and then back to the front of the park. Now, when I was mentioning Victoria's, here is Victoria's restaurant. It's just a little sitting place. It's closed at the moment. It does only open sometimes at certain times. So check the app for times you can get specific things there. But this is where I was mentioning was you can hear the guy out of there's an open window there just above. And you can hear him showering, turning the water on too hot, screaming, things like that. Victoria's cold brew coffee. Some various different things. You know what to do with that, we've mentioned it enough times now. I don't think there's anything else on the back of that that's different, is there? Oh yeah, there is. So we've got the stitch cakes and a couple of different other things. Milkshakes, Ohana Bubble Fizz. And that's one of the things here, the stitch sippers at the moment. As well as the popcorn bucket for the music festival that they've got on at the moment as well. Yeah, I can't hear this guy showering at the moment. First aid over there, along with the baby care centre. And then we are going back down through the Discovery Arcade because it is on the Discoveryland side. There we go. Euro Disneyland, the original name of the park. So again, this is very similar to the other one. There is doors to some of the food places because this side of Main Street is a lot of food places, so you can get into the bake shop and things like that there, which is open. A few people sitting outside, I don't want to go in and disturb them, but got some sandwiches, cheers, cheesecake, cupcakes, a few different things on there, obviously drinks and things as well. And then you've got some of the art and things in that shop as well. Again, there's just, if you want to look, there's a couple of cool little things in here. Some jewellery and things there as well, which is from Harrington's there, the shop we've just passed. That one takes you into the Market House Deli again. Just a couple of, there's like a brookie, Chippendale brookies and things like that. We are now heading back down to Main Street and back down to the train station, which will nearly conclude the full walking tour of the park, which has taken us so far about an hour and 15 nearly. A lot of people coming up this one. And there is toilets in both of these arcades. Got another merch store in there that you can get access into as well. So crowd-wise this morning, I don't feel like it's been too bad. There's a couple of things, the obvious ones like Big Thunder and Hyperspace, which have been up quite a way. Looks like they've got this roped off, so Minnie must be going to come out with the marching band soon. Normally just come out here and goes around Main Street and things. So we are back down the bottom of Main Street. You can see you've got the train station over there. Again, we've got names above. There's Bixby Brothers there, which is just another merchandise store. Now there is one of the windows again above here. It's always worth listening out for things. Don't know if you can hear that. But just above, there is a dentist window. If you listen carefully, I really don't think you'll be able to hear that, but there is somebody getting teeth pulled and you can hear the dentist and things like that in there as well. So it's always funny just to listen out for those little details. And we are back down basically to the front of the park and the train station where we started this walking tour about an hour ago, and a bit ago.
What's the called?
So that's going to basically be a full walking tour of this park. So although I haven't seen you for an hour, I have been here, I have been talking your ear off all around the park. I hope that you've enjoyed the walking tour. I hope you found it really useful. Like I say, it's always weird in vlogs where people are flitting here, there, showing bits of things. Hope that walking tour has given you a bit of wayfinding, knowing where things are, some crowd levels, some facts about the park, and some different things. Thought it might be just something different to put on. If you're still here, thank you very much. We'll end this here. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.
So we'll sing you a little song, and it won't be very long, about so long, so